Hello students, in today's class we are going to study about opening and closing of stomata. We already know that guard cells present in the stomata are regulating the opening and closing of stomata. They are responsible for opening and closing of stomata. So there are two theories given for the opening and closing of stomata. They are sugar concentration theory and potassium ion concentration theory. We are going to start with sugar concentration theory. So two observations were being given according to sugar concentration theory. These observations are during the daytime and during the night time. During the daytime, when the photosynthesis occurs, then the cell sap concentration of the guard cell is very high. Due to this high solute concentration of the guard cells, endoosmosis occurs and the water molecules move from low solute concentration in the surrounding cells to the high solute concentration in the guard cells. This makes the guard cells turgid and leads to opening of a stomatal pore, and hence the stomata opens up. The pressure which is developed in the guard cells is called turgor pressure. So, firstly, during the daytime, photosynthesis occurs. Due to the photosynthesis, the cell sap concentration becomes very high in the guard cells, and hence it leads to endoosmosis. Because of endoosmosis, the water molecules which are in low solute concentration in the neighboring cells or the surrounding cells move towards the high solute concentration in the guard cells. Now, the third point is that guard cells become turgid and hence the stomatal pore opens and the stomata opens up. The pressure which is developed in the guard cell is turgor pressure. Now, during the night time, according to sugar concentration theory, that during the night time there will be no photosynthesis. First thing, then the CO2 gets accumulated in the guard cells during this time. The CO2 gets accumulated in the guard cells, and this CO2 combines with water to form carbonic acid. Now, this carbonic acid formation results into conversion of sugar into starch. Since the sugar is converted into starch, now the solute concentration within the guard cell has been reduced, has been lowered. Now, now exoosmosis occurs because of it. And during exoosmosis, the movement of water molecules take place from low solute concentration in the guard cells towards the high solute concentration in the neighboring cells. And this exoosmosis leads to the shrinkage of the guard cells, making it flaccid, and this leads to closing of stomata. So we studied that during the night time, firstly, no photosynthesis occurs. Then the CO2 gets accumulated in the guard cells, and this CO2 combines with water to form carbonic acid. This carbonic acid formation promotes the conversion of sugar into starch. The starch is insoluble in water. Due to the conversion of sugar into starch, the solute concentration in the guard cell is reduced now, and hence exoosmosis now occurs, leading to the movement of water molecules from low solute concentration in the guard cells to the high solute concentration in the neighboring cells. This exoosmosis causes the guard cell to become flaccid, and hence there is closing of stomatal pore, leading to the closing of stomata. So in this entire theory, we studied that how endoosmosis causes the opening of stomata and exoosmosis causes the closing of stomata. But What are the factors leading to endoosmosis? So the factor here is the photosynthesis increases the sugar concentration within the guard cells, while during the night time no photosynthesis occurs, so the sugar concentration is being reduced, which leads to the exoosmosis process. This is a diagram showing that endoosmosis causes opening of stomata and exoosmosis causes closing of stomata. So this is a fact that endoosmosis will lead to opening of stomata and exoosmosis will cause the closing of stomata. But the factors will be different. According to the sugar concentration theory, the concentration of sugar is playing the major role. But now we move on to another theory, potassium ion concentration theory. Here the potassium ion concentration will play a major role in endoosmosis and exoosmosis and hence leading to opening and closing of stomata. So let's see what happens in potassium ion concentration theory. So they also made two observations during the daytime and during the night time. During the daytime, they observed that photosynthesis occurs, due to which there is production of ATP. This production of ATP. First point, due to photosynthesis, there is production of ATP, and this ATP helps in pumping of potassium ions present in the surrounding cells. So this is point number 2. ATP production helps in pumping of potassium ions from the surrounding cells into the guard cells. Now, due to this increase in potassium ions in the guard cells, now it becomes hypertonic. Now, due to the increased potassium ions in the guard cells, it becomes hypertonic. And as it becomes hypertonic, now it will lead to endoosmosis. The movement of water molecules now take place from low solute concentration in the surrounding cells to the high solute concentration in the guard cells, hence making it turgid. So now the fourth point is endoosmosis occur due to this hypertonic concentration of the guard cells, making the guard cells turgid. And as the guard cells become turgid, as the endoosmosis occurs, it leads to opening of stomata. So according to the potassium ion concentration theory, during the daytime, photosynthesis occurs and ATP production takes place. This ATP production helps in pumping of potassium ions, point number 2, and this pumping of potassium ions increases the potassium ion concentration in the guard cells, making it hypertonic, and due to this hypertonic concentration of the guard cells, endoosmosis occurs, making the guard cells turgid. And due to endoosmosis, the guard cell becomes turgid and leads to opening of stomata. But during the night time, when no photosynthesis occurs, then no ATP formation takes place. Hence, the potassium ions which were present inside the guard cells now move out of the guard cells, leaving the guard cells hypotonic. It is just the opposite which happened in the daytime. So now the guard cells have become hypotonic. Due to this hypotonic concentration, now the water molecules move from low solute concentration in the guard cells to the high solute concentration in the neighboring cell, in the surrounding cells, leaving the guard cells flaccid. So, due to hypotonic concentration of the guard cells, exoosmosis occurs, leaving the guard cells flaccid and hence causing closing of stomata. So, these two theories have been given regarding the opening and closing of stomata. Now we move on to adaptations in the leaf for photosynthesis. So there are 5 adaptations in the leaf for photosynthesis. Firstly, large surface area of the leaf. Larger the surface area of the leaf, larger will be the absorption of, maximum will be the absorption of light. Large number of stomata. So greater the number of stomata, more will be the gaseous exchange of O2 and CO2. Third is the arrangement of leaf. The leaves are arranged in such a way that they absorb the maximum of light. This can happen only if leaves are at right angles to the light so that they can trap maximum of the light. Fourth is the concentration of chloroplast. If chloroplasts are more concentrated on the upper epidermis, then maximum light energy can be obtained. Then fifth one is extensive vein system. The vein system is very extensively developed. Then there will be rapid transport of water to and from the mesophyll cells. Thank you.